Hello everyone, my name is Nilanjan Chatterjee. Welcome to the second part of our video, that is Ancient Indian Art and Architecture. Today we are going to talk about the Mathura School of Art. As we can see in the very first slide, the historical context of the Mathura School of Art. First of all, the indigenous roots. The Mathura School of Art evolved in the cultural heartland of the Indian subcontinent, okay, unlike the Gandhara School of Art. Unlike Gandhara, Mathura's artistic roots were deeply indigenous. That is very important. And drawing inspiration from pre-Mauryan Yaksha and Yakshi imagery and evolving through the Mauryan and Shunga periods. Okay, so we find some pre-Mauryan and Mauryan influence in the Mathura School of Art, which is deeply indigenous. Okay, as we can see in the next slide, the religious diversity reflected in the Mathura School of Art. The Mathura artists produced images of the Buddha, Jain Tirthankaras, Hindu deities like Vishnu and Shiva, and a multitude of female figurines and secular motifs. This is very important. It is unlike Gandhara, it is not strictly concentrating on Buddha and Buddhist images. Okay, it is concentrating more on the other religious sects, the other religious spiritual categories, etc. Okay, artistic renaissance, as we can see in the next slide. Artistic renaissance under Kushana rule around the 1st century CE, Mathura experienced a major artistic renaissance. The school developed a distinct style that emphasized indigenous ideals of beauty, serenity, and divine presence, shaping the visual vocabulary of the later Gupta period. So, this Mathura School of Art actually had an influence over the Gupta art and architecture because it developed an indigenous notion, an indigenous type of aesthetics, okay, which the Guptas later incorporated in their art form. Now let's talk about the materials and techniques used in the Mathura School of Art. First point is the usage of red sandstone, which is very important. Mathura's artists predominantly used red spotted sandstones, locally known as Sikri sandstone. This is very important. Sikri sandstone quarried from the Vindhyan regions, okay, from the Vindhya mountain regions. This softer stone was well suited for symmetrical and smooth modeling, giving rise to a distinctive glowing and red hue sculpture. As we can see in this image, it is a classical example of the Mathura School of Art. Something that is reddish in nature and glowing, and also unlike Gandhara, it is reflecting something indigenous. Okay, it is not relying on little details and realism, okay, like the Gandhara art and architecture concentrates on. This is something different. It concentrates more on expressions and emotions in a very Indian way. Freestanding forms, that is another feature of the Mathura School of Architecture. Mathura sculptures were largely freestanding with smoother contours and less architectural framing than Gandhara works. Okay, the carving process often started with broad outlines, followed by detailing facial features, ornaments, and mudras. These are more ornamental Mathura School of Art. Okay, and finally the surface treatment. An important feature of Mathura sculpture is the high polish applied to surfaces, okay, reflecting earlier Mauryan traditions, which is basically influenced by the earlier Mauryan traditions. This polish lent a spiritual aura, as I mentioned, more emotional, spiritual rather than realistic, to the sculptures and emphasized their divine energy, okay, that is the Tejas. Where on the other hand, we can see anthropomorphic images of Buddha in the Gandhara School of Art. Here we can understand Buddha, we can perceive Buddha as a divine entity, not a human being. Okay, that is the main crucial difference between the Gandhara and Mathura School of Art. Now let's talk about the stylistic characteristics of the Mathura School of Art. First of all, spiritual expressiveness, something more expressive than the Gandhara school of art. Emphasis on divine energy over realism. Second is formal structure, robust, frontal and often symmetrical forms. Third is symbolic gestures, which is also very important, prominent use of mudras and iconographic elements. The fourth and the final point is the serene countenance, okay? Gentle faces with calm smiles and wide open eyes, okay? Unlike Gandhara art and architecture, where we can see eyes are closed in multiple sculptures of Buddha. Now let's come to iconography and symbolism in the Mathura school of art. There are three major religions, Buddhism, Jainism and Hinduism, all represented in the Mathura school of art. 32 auspicious marks, that is the lakshanas identifying the Buddha, and 24 Jain Tirthankaras depicted in Kayotsarga posture. Okay, Kayotsarga posture is one of the key features of Mathura school of art, particularly in terms of Jain art and architecture, representation of Jainism. Mathura iconography emphasizes spiritual essence over physical realism. Okay, Buddha images have distinct Indian physiognomy, snail shell curls, prominent ushnisha and a gentle smile. Okay, the eyes are usually wide open and serene, projecting meditative concentration. Mathura also integrates symbology like the lotus seat, okay, lotus seat, lion throne, wheel, that is chakra, and the bodhi tree. The Jain Tirthankaras are shown in Kayotsarga pose or posture, standing stiffly with arms alongside the body, emphasizing detachment. Okay. Hindu iconography includes early depictions of Vishnu, Shiva, Devi, often with multiple arms and heads to signify their supernatural powers that we all know. Now, the major archaeological sites of Mathura, one is Kankali Tilla, rich in Jain sculptures including standing Tirthankaras, seated figures and inscribed pedestals dating from 2nd century BCE to 3rd century CE. This site has yielded some of the most important Jain artifacts from the Kushana period. Okay. The next is Jail Mound, produced Buddhist and Hindu images including several dated Kushana period, Buddhas and early Vishnu images. Okay. The site has provided crucial evidence for dating the development of Mathura's distinctive style. Now the third point is Govindnagar, yielded monumental yaksha figures and important Hindu sculptures that demonstrates the multi-religious character of the Mathura's artistic production during the 1st to 3rd centuries CE. Okay. Now we have come to the final slide of today's video, that is the religious context and artistic intent of the Mathura school of art. Strikingly pluralistic, embracing Buddhist, Jain and Hindu streams, its art reflects this inclusiveness with images serving in rituals and as visual foci for darshana. Okay, that is sacred viewing. Okay, darshana actually means sacred viewing. Buddhist figures are depicted in meditative poses embodying detachment and tranquility, while Jain sculptures emphasize asceticism through rigidly postured Tirthankaras. Brahminical images reflect growing iconographic standardization. As I mentioned already, it had a huge influence on the Gupta art and architecture in following period. Thank you very much. This is it for today. In the next video, we'll be talking about the Amravati School of Art in the part 3 of our lecture series. Don't miss it. Stay tuned and please watch our channel. Thank you very much.